Stephen here. We're going to work on a little myofascial release for the Pec Major. So in another video we did lat, subscap, Pec Minor, at least one variation on how you can do that. And then on this one we'll work on Pec Major a little bit. The way I like to work into Pec Major is typically in a prone position. So I'm laying on the belly and I'm going to place a ball kind of around maybe a rib space or two below the clavicle and just lateral to the sternum. So I find kind of center line of the rib cage, and then I'm going to place a ball kind of in one of these rib spaces, whichever one is going to feel right for me. And depending on what that tissue feels like, or if we have breast tissue or anything like that, you can work lower, but typically I kind of stay in that upper portion so we can still work into kind of those upper threads of the pec. And some people like to use a block so they can lay down with a block and then a ball on top of it. It gives a little bit more pressure. For today, I'll show how I like to do it. So typically laying down, I'll cactus the arm and I will take the ball and place it. When I'm setting up, I like to also, so let's work on this side. So I'll place the ball like I showed, and then I typically will take the left hand out to the side in line with the left shoulder. So ball's on the right side, I'm kind of lining it up just lateral to the sternum and in one of those lines of the pec. The right arm is cactus, the elbow's at 90 degrees, the elbow's at the height of the shoulder, and the right hand, so for me it's the right hand, is gripping the ground. So I'm adding a little bit of stability to the shoulder, so I'm not just dumping it. So I want to just add a little bit of grip here for a little more stability. I like to also turn this left hand so the fingers point inward. So you'll see why in a second, but typically I like to rotate this hand to point inward because it gives me a little more traction to roll the body towards the left side of the mat in this case. So the ball's on the right, I want to roll my body towards the left side of the mat so the ball can move out towards that right shoulder. And for a little bit more intensity, I also typically take that left leg out to the side. So the right arm is at 90 degrees, the left leg is out at 90 degrees. And so I take that left hand, and typically, whether you set the head down or we keep the head lifted, it doesn't really matter, depends on your comfort. But we'll slowly start to work along those fibers of the pec from the sternum out towards the shoulder. And so trying to keep a little bit of stability in that shoulder. The right hand grips the ground. I can settle in here, I can breathe. And we can work really slow, so we're making sure the nervous system is receptive to what we're doing. The shoulder is stable, that scapula is still on the back. You'll notice we run through one of those rib spaces. I said run through, probably more like a very slow crawl through. And then you may notice we get towards the outer edge of the rib cage. And there's a little space right before the shoulder. So we can roll through that space, and right when we're going to fall into that space outside the shoulder or right before the shoulder, we can release. So when we think about working on the pec, fibers of the pec are running kind of laterally this way. So Pec Major is along this line, and Pec Minor is just this little bit kind of between here, running straight down. So we can roll along that Pec Major outward, and then also we'll end up in a little bit of a cross fiber running through that Pec Minor as it runs north-south. So I would say try that one. See, again, this is one of those internal rotators for the shoulder. Tends to be tight for a lot of people. Forward head posture, forward shoulder posture. If we feel like we're getting pain in the back side of the shoulders, maybe pain in the neck or in between the shoulder blades, kind of in that rhomboid middle trap area, then maybe we need to release more of the pec. In the other video, the lat, subscap, and maybe Pec Minor as well. So go ahead and play with those and see how it goes.